What's something entrepreneurs are told to do that actually hurt your business? Build something great and they'll find you. Most comfortable lie a technical founder can believe. Building feels productive, gives instant feedback, never rejects you. So you keep shipping features and tell yourself distribution comes later. Months in, I had a product I was proud of and zero distribution muscle. Features weren't the bottleneck. Nobody knew it existed. What I'd do differently? Start distribution the same week you start building, even if it's just showing up in communities. It's never ready, and that skill takes as long to build as the product. Say yes to every opportunity nearly killed my first business. We spread across 4 different service lines in year 2 because every new client request felt like growth. And instead, we just became mediocre at everything and burned out the core team trying to cover it all. The real lesson is that focus is a competitive advantage, not a limitation. Saying no to stuff that doesn't fit your lane is actually how you get really good at the thing that does. Took me way too long to figure that out, to be honest. Your first customer is validation. It is not. Your first customer is a data point. One person, once, was willing to pay. That is useful, but it is not validation in any commercial sense. The damage this advice does? It invites premature confidence at exactly the moment when you should still be treating everything as a hypothesis. Teams stop asking hard questions. Would a second or 10th customer have the same problem? And start executing on a story built from n equals 1. The version that is actually true. Your first customer is the beginning of a sample. You need enough customers to know whether the first one was signal or noise. Until you have that, every decision that scales the business is a bet, not a validated move. The other one that did real damage? Move fast and break things. The insight behind it, high iteration speed compounds, is sound. But in B2B or anywhere the cost of breaking things is borne by customers and partners, you are burning trust you need to grow. The version that actually works. Move fast on reversible decisions and slow on irreversible ones. Most people apply one speed to everything. I have registered 2 businesses in the past 5 years. My first business, I never got a single client because of this. My second business, I had clients, but very few were compatible, and it became unsustainable. I seriously limited my services and still do it, but I've realized I have outgrown this service. My third and current business, I am just laying the groundwork with. I am intending to learn from my mistakes. If you don't pace yourself and find a way to integrate your learning, it can end up as overwhelming entertainment that is hard to remember, hard to speak from the heart about. You feel like you are moving forward, but you're not able to integrate the nitty-gritty of your business processes, systems, and processes, which allow you to feel feedback for if what you are considering investing into the business is actually appropriate for the stage you are, in regards to evidence for what you need and certainty that your services, policies, marketing strategies are actually relevant to you personally. For it to be relevant and sustainable for you, as you are, not you as you aspire to be, it must be emotionally sustainable, energy-giving, resonating, and a titrated learning curve. Emotions, whether in the form of sensations or narratives/words/imagery, are feedback of the strain on our physiologic nervous system. A strained nervous system will naturally look for relief, and the more strained we are, the more at risk we are to be distracted by various addictions, to not remember things, to make errors, or to motivate ourselves with shame/fear/scarcity instead of curiosity/joy/grief, which I feel are much better indications of authentic and sustainable decision-making. And authentic decision-making is what will let us develop our business to be fulfilling, reliable for clients and those who need us, and a part of a life we love. For me, I found that better than overdosing on info is engaging with one interesting piece of info and taking notes. storing my notes in an organized system that is easy for me to reference later, like Google Keep or Notion, applying what I learned and seeing the results/feedback before going on to learn too much other things. Diff brains work diff, so maybe you are able to multitask the integrating of subjects more or less than someone else. If you're like me and you hyper-focus, you might learn a lot in a short period of time, but accidentally in the process make logical leaps or shortcut assumptions that aren't based on real-world evidence. So you accidentally end up losing out on options and strategies that may have actually really benefited you if you had more thoroughly researched, learned about it, tried it. We all need activities and friends who can help slow down our information-loving minds and pace our ambitious eagerness to get the show on the road. I'm trying to practice focusing my attention on other things so that I don't burn out/not retain info/not test and incorporate info into my systems from an exhausted and numbed mind. But then the flip side is, you might, like me, get caught up in distractions and hyper-focus on other things, waiting on planted seeds that may take months to bloom. You might lose momentum and integration/building on what you learned. So it's also important to have friends who can be reminders of why continuing to learn, test, refine aspects of your business is an essential, ongoing process. I think I will stop feeling intimidated by the never-ending business running and adapting process, the more that I associate it with balance, other life activities and focuses, grounding and inquisitive friendships, mutually minded collaborators, and eventually networking into contact with more consistently compatible and rewarding clients. Saying yes to every opportunity hit me hard. Early on, I thought turning things down meant leaving money on the table, so I took consulting gigs, partnership calls, random collaborations. Kept telling myself it was building relationships. What it actually did was spread the saying yes to every opportunity hit me hard. Early on, I thought turning things down meant leaving money on the table, so I took consulting gigs, partnership calls, random collaborations. Kept telling myself it was building relationships. What it actually did was spread the weeks so thin that the core product barely moved. You can't do deep work in 45-minute windows between other people's deadlines. The thing that helped? I started asking, if I could only work on one thing this week, would it be this? If the answer wasn't yes, I said no. Sounds obvious in hindsight, but it took a while to get comfortable with it. Saying no is a skill, not a character flaw. It was weeks so thin that the core product barely moved. You can't do deep work in 45-minute windows between other people's deadlines. The thing that helped? I started asking, if I could only work on one thing this week, would it be this? If the answer wasn't yes, I said no. Sounds obvious in hindsight, but it took a while to get comfortable with it. Saying no is a skill, not a character flaw.